Welcome everyone to Coaching in Session. My name is Michael Rearden and I will be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about how to get your life from just surviving and into a life that is going to be thriving. And it's one of those things, especially in our world today, that many people are struggling with. People are struggling to make ends meet every single day, whether it's the house, the groceries, the kids, the family, the pets. You're trying to figure out, wow, I have a lot on my plate. How do I get all of this down? And sometimes it's not so much about trying to scarf everything down, but prioritizing what's going to be best for you to eat on that plate. Because we're not going to get into the concept of, well, if you don't like broccoli, don't eat broccoli. Because broccoli might be the best thing for you. For example, going to the gym might be the best thing for you, but you don't like sweating. So we do have to create some clarity there. Because some people are just in the mindset of, I want to do what's comfortable. I want to do what's going to make me feel good. But sometimes in life, we have to do the things that are hard. Sometimes in life, we have to do the things that are going to challenge us. Sometimes we have to stop being mediocre and start being awesome. So today I'm bringing on a guest coach, Derrick Johnson, who's going to be a life and fitness coach. And he's going to be helping us understand how we can start to win at life. A little bit about my guest. He is a fitness coach that turned life coach because he realized, you know what? There was just something more that I can be doing. He was also in the military, comes from a military family. And that right there is a good thing because you have created discipline. His father was disciplined and he learned discipline as he was growing up. He gives examples in this interview of when he would go over someone else's house and the house is a mess and it's in chaos. And he's like, but my house is not like that. So he learned what was good, what worked, what didn't work. And sometimes we are just so used to the chaos. We are just so used to the mayhem where it's just like, I can't believe you're not getting your life on track. But if you're in the mindset of, well, this is normal because this is how I grew up, you are just living in, all right, this is what society has given me. This is my circumstance. This is what I have to have. Yet we can change any circumstance that we don't want. Most people that I speak with, especially the people who come to work with me, want something more in their life. Most people don't come to me and say, Michael, everything is good. And I just want to, talk to you because I love your voice and I just want to spend some money. No, they come to me with a problem that they need some help in. And that is what I do. I help that person get into the right mindset to take action. But there has to be a start. There has to be a beginning. Where do we begin? I think this episode with Derrick and myself is going to be a great beginning point for anyone at any walk of life because you're going to learn 3 essential skills in this episode today that are going to help you get your life back on track. Now, those skills might not be something that you implement immediately or fully. When you begin to implement at least 3 things, I don't know if you have noticed, we have been hitting on 3 or 5 different things in the past episodes of the podcast because I'm giving people so many different tips, things that they can try. Because yes, I can talk about mindset all day and I can talk about how you're supposed to be and motivate you to inspire you. Yeah, if you don't have anything that you can just take a piece of, a part of, because if there's 3 different things and you try one from this episode and in the last episode, if there was 3 things I gave you, you tried one thing, you are beginning to take the steps to your best life. And here we go into an episode that's going to be another piece of that puzzle into your best life with Derrick Johnson. Welcome, Derrick Johnson, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks so much for coming on. Today, we're going to be having you on as a combo guest. It's going to be doing life coaching, but also a focus on fitness coaching. And we're going to get into that story a little bit later. As you know, a life coach can help in so many areas of your life. And then health and fitness is a big part to getting people motivated, giving them the confidence to take more action in their life. So both play a pivotal role into our success and our progress. And that is what you do. You help people become more than who they are. And that is so important. Without me kind of going into your whole biography today, tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help them.
All right. I appreciate you having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So my name is Derrick Johnson. I'm a U.S. Army veteran turned fitness coach and life coach. So I specialize in helping people take control of old patterns that are no longer serving them, help them break those patterns to then thrive so they don't just survive. And whether that's fitness or whether that's personal and career. helping them identify that. And in the US Army, I did satellite communications, was always a tech nerd. And then from there, just took it online into business. Always wanted to give clients or just people in general a good user-friendly app to do fitness on. And then from there, capitalizing on Zoom to help go dive deeper with the clients in regards to mental health.
I love the saying or cliche or whatever you want to call it, not just to survive, to thrive. Today, we're going to be really getting into that mindset, that concept, because a lot of people today, they just accept what they get. They allow their circumstances to be their circumstances. They allow complacency. They allow, themselves to be in the rat race, everything that keeps them stuck. So they feel like they can't do anything. But that's so far from the truth, because we do have the power, we do have the potential, but we do have to unlock that. So today we're really going to be diving into that concept, to how to help people to not only survive, because a lot of people are just surviving right now. We know the economy. How can you thrive? Let's get into your mindset now, right? How can people begin that process of getting out of that survival mindset, but into the mindset that's going to help them thrive?
For sure. That's a great question. I would always look at the first thing is identify what can a person get rid of or replace. We'll start on a fitness and nutrition level. What is somebody consuming their first hour of the morning? Is it strictly caffeine and no water? Is it strictly carbs? Is it strictly processed foods? So first starting with what can I eliminate that's going to help me make more progress? And it could also be people. It could also be media. Some people wake up and instantly turn on the news, and then their first 30 minutes, they put nothing but toxic information in their mind. Then midday, they wonder why they're so stressed, annoyed, or just pissed off. Realizing number one is what can I eliminate? That could be people, that could be something in their diet, that could be something that they consume on social media, not touching this thing the first 10 minutes to 30 minutes when they wake up. But from there is really identifying what can they get rid of first. I always like to focus on that step one before we add anything to the routine, make any changes, because usually the person is very clear on exactly what they could get rid of or simply do less of or replace. So starting with those things and realizing what is really dragging me down or holding me back. And most people, if they're transparent with themselves, they can always be pretty honest and say, you know what, late night snacking after 9 p.m., watching Netflix on the couch, or the other person's like, hey, I keep hanging out with this family member who pisses me off because they talk about religion and other views, and then everybody's having a squabble. Realizing what those things are and then looking at their routine. I would highly recommend that people do that first, getting rid of some things first or replacing them with something that's more positive or more empowering.
If you can win your morning, you can win your day. And it's so important for people to understand what they're doing in the morning, because if they're just waking up, hitting the snooze button, waking up, going on their social media, I know it's enticing. I know you have to check in and see how many likes you got when you were sleeping. It's probably like 1 or 2, but it takes so much of our focus away when we do something like that. Instead of maybe having a to-do list on our side bed table, our end table, whatever you call it in the bedroom where you put your stuff, right? You could have a box, you could have you could have whatever you have, but most people have something they can place things on. That right there can be used for journaling, whether it be in the morning or in the evening. When you wake up, the first thing you do is you're setting yourself up for success. How does that look like? If we now have already went past we got rid of our cell phones, we got rid of snooze button, right? We're just starting in the morning and then we can get to breakfast a little bit later. But how does that look like when we set up our day?
I would highly recommend that people wake up at the exact same time, 7 days a week. And it doesn't have to be 4, it doesn't have to be 5, whatever works for somebody. But if they can do that like clockwork, eventually they will beat their alarm. A lot of people, they change their wake up time every single morning. And then they never really have pure energy until they have Monster, 2 coffees and everything else. And then from there, they crash 2 hours later. But their internal clock is just screwed because they always go to bed at different times and wake up at different times. I would focus on the basics. I wake up at 4 every morning so I can have at least my first 2 hours to myself. So 4 a.m., get up, go to the kitchen, hydrate, maybe do some visualization or prayer, take my dog out. Then from there, just walk around the block. And then I get ready for the gym. So if I need some caffeine, I take that. If I don't, then I just head to the gym and then spend about an hour in there, up to an hour and a half. But by the time I come home, I'm clear. So by the time I get texts, emails, calls, clients, people need, family needs me, whoever needs me, I'm like, hey, I'm here for everyone. I'm excited to help everyone. But if I don't have 2 hours in the morning to myself, then I'm just reactive and I'm pissed off. I'm like, why does everybody need me right now? And same scenario, but different reaction. Taking care of the body, taking care of the mind to then just be calm the rest of the day. Because as you mentioned earlier, snooze button, people hit snooze, then they're late, anxiety's high, then they're in traffic. If they work in person, then they're having issues, and then everything stacks up and their day hasn't even started. Then their boss needs them to do something. Then the boyfriend texts them or the girlfriend, then they can't even keep up. And then they get home, they need that alcohol. So then it's a downward spiral of trickles. As you mentioned, controlling that morning, being able to control the day. But yes, I would highly recommend that people, if they even haven't tried this, waking up at the exact same time, even on the weekends, doesn't necessarily mean they have to get up and instantly work out or do something with work. They can still have a free day, but they'll feel way more in control. Even on a Sunday, if they get up at the same time, go for a walk, and then enjoy the day, they realize how much longer their day is because they're not sleeping till 9 or 10 and wasting a lot of their time. And then come Monday, they're dragging ass again.
Yeah, it's important. It's a great tip, actually, for people just to understand. Wake up at the same time. Yes, it's Saturday. You don't sleep in on Saturdays. Yes, we understand you can have a rest day. But if you are waking up every day, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock to go to work for, 9 o'clock. And on Saturday, you wake up at 11:30, 12 o'clock. What did you do Friday night? Did you go to the club? Did you try to turn up? Did you stay up watching movies all night? And then now your sleep cycle is all messed up. I want you to understand that if you mess up your sleep cycle like that, you're literally going to be struggling that whole weekend. And then that's why you hate Monday. I don't hate Monday. When Monday comes, I'm like, all right, Monday's here. To be honest, I work on the weekends too. It's like, for me, it's like, yeah, I'm waking up at the same time. Yes, I'm doing the same things. But for me, it's like, I don't have any day of the week that I hate, or I have a day of the week that I enjoy. Like, oh, Friday, now I get to relax finally. Or Sunday, oh man, tomorrow's Monday. Like, now I got to go to work and I got to suffer. If you're in that mindset, you need a life coach. All right, I'm just throwing it out there. You need someone who can help you focus better, because as an adult, especially, you should have that under control. If you're a teenager, you want to do that, okay, live your life for a little bit, but then you have to show up. As you were talking, I was thinking, oh, there's could be so many parents that are going to be like, oh, it sounds nice, Derrick, that you could wake up at 4 o'clock. I have kids and I have all this stuff, and they don't have any time in their day. We can get into that aspect a little bit later, but I wanted to look at the aspect of morning eating now, right? So we kind of woke up, we put a little bit of focus in our day, prayer, meditation, maybe it's a little bit of journaling. And then now we're getting ready to either consume something or start our day. Because I know some people can do fasting, intermittent fasting, so they might not eat until the afternoon, something I do. Again, what's your take on it? Because I know you do a lot of fitness too. So you're more than just a life coach helping people with winning in their day and in all areas of their life, but also the fitness aspect. So I wanted to get your take on the best thing someone can do in the morning for themselves.
Yes, for sure. I would look at it as their schedule in regards to, let's just say Jimmy's on night shift, Michelle works swing, and then two other people work morning. If they all have different shifts and different sleep schedules, then they would have to eat differently. So a lot of people, they hear, I need breakfast, not that it's for everyone. I would first look at their output of their energy. I, per se, work out within an hour of waking up. Then I come home, shower, write out my log, plan the day, and then I'll eat something light. And then my heaviest meal is usually lunch or dinner. But it just helps me because I have way more energy. If I have a hearty breakfast, Waffle House, anything like that, or pancakes, and I'm going to be tired, I'm going to be craving carbs all day. So number one, I would have more of a nutritious, full whole foods, strictly whole foods if you're going to have that. If you would like oats are amazing as well, but I would go for minimal amounts of sugar because that's what most people do. They'll have the processed food, they'll have the sugars, whether that's food or whether it's a sugary drink. Then 2 hours later, they're crashing. Then they need more caffeine. Then they're chasing that caffeine. Then the next caffeine makes them more tired. And they're kind of chasing that next dopamine hit or that rush. But if they start their morning with a good quality source of protein and a good carb and just sticking with whole foods. But if they did work out, I would recommend to eat after the workout. They could train fasted. But let's just say that they sit at a desk. I would recommend that they eat some fruit. So if they do want something sweet, they can have that fruit, which is not going to spike their glycogen and they're not going to have carb cravings 2 hours later. They'll still feel good. But I would base it off of somebody's schedule. Once they know their schedule and their physical output, then they may need more food. They may need less food. Like I have some clients that are nurses. They're on their feet all day long. So they need constant shakes and smoothies. They can't really sit down and have a full meal. But then let's say Jimmy per se, maybe he works for USAA or Bank of America and he's at a desk and in meetings all day and he's sitting down. He would really have to pay attention to what he's eating because he's sitting most of the day. And if he is or isn't training, then he would have to have food timing in regards to, hey, am I going to have my heaviest meal at lunch at work or am I going to wait till 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. to have it? But I would first look at somebody's schedule, but most importantly, eating purely whole foods. And when it comes to consuming liquids, not that caffeine is for everyone, but I would highly recommend that people drink strictly spring water. People have mixed reviews on waters. Dasani's better than this and that. But spring water is from the source. I'm from Florida, so I love Zephyr Hills. Some people say it's like swamp water. I love it because it actually has minerals. But if you pick up a bottle, whether it's glass or plastic, and you turn it around, if it's pure spring water, it's going to give some mineral content on there, which essentially just comes from the ground. And if people just try 1 month of strictly drinking spring water, they'll feel and see a major difference in how their body feels, their skin might feel more refreshed. Like if I drank Dasani or Aquafina right now, my skin could feel it later and I would be bloated. And in my head, I'm like, why is this water making me bloated? It's pissing me off. But if I go spring water, I feel amazing. And then on top of that, just eating more whole foods, staying away from the processed and staying away from the sugary drinks, because that spikes people's sugar. Then it drops along with their energy. And next thing you know, they're just looking for carbs and caffeine and they're just riding on that.
Also in the aspect of surviving and thriving, right? Because some people just wake up in the morning, I need my coffee so they can get started in their day. Yet for me, I don't need any coffee in the morning. Yes, I drink water in the morning because it makes the most sense. Like you were literally sleeping 6 to 8 hours and you didn't give your body any water. Your body's mostly made out of water. You need some water in your body. So it's like, all right, first thing in the morning, I drink water. I do Mountain Spring Valley is what I do. Dasani is fake water. I don't know. Like every time I drink Dasani, if I have to go to like an airport or something, they got like Dasani or whatever, I'm actually more thirsty after I drink it. Some people enjoy it. I'm not saying like this is a water podcast where we're talking about different types of waters and which ones you should or should not be drinking. You can drink whatever you want. It's your life. But understand that you want to win in your morning, not just with the snooze button, your phone, social media, going to the gym, having that journaling aspect, meditation aspect to plan out your day, but also knowing your schedule, which is important because some people, like you said, don't need breakfast. Because if you're going into a job where you're just going to be sitting down all day, do you really need to eat breakfast? Yes, we know you might have those stimuli that's going to say, hey, you need to eat because you have been doing it. But if you train yourself, you know what? I'm not going to eat breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning anymore. I'm going to instead eat at 10. Eventually, you're not going to get those hunger signals until like around 9:30. And then you say, I'm going to push it to 11. And you push it to 11, then you're not going to get the hunger signals until like 10. So you can keep pushing it off until maybe afternoon, lunchtime at work. And then what are you eating at work? So understand that too. Some people just pack a, peanut butter jelly sandwich or ham and cheese sandwich. It's probably not the best thing that we can do for ourselves, because then that right there is going to set us up for failure come later in the day, because now we're going to want more carbs. We're going to want the cookies. We're going to want the cakes. We're going to want the donuts before we even get home, because you're going to eat a little bit at work. It's like, all right, I'm going to eat more at home. You might stop on the way. This is where people fail, I think, the most, is that they're hungry. They start making bad choices. They may have to go to the grocery store. So they buy all these things that are not helpful. They buy the Doritos. They buy the Cheetos. They buy all the junk food because that's what their brain is saying. Hey, this is what I need. This is what I need. Instead of you saying, you know what, I packed a salad for lunch, or I packed some chicken breasts, and figuring that out, right? You do have to figure out what foods work for your body. And everyone has foods that work and foods that don't work. So I always tell people to work with a fitness coach, work with a nutritionist that can help you understand that aspect a little bit more. But I want to get into the aspect of parenting before we look at the rest of our day. For parents now, they have their kids. They know if they wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, their kids are going to automatically have a spider sense. Kids have a sixth sense. If their parents are up, they're up. They're like, oh, mom's up, dad's up. I have to go talk to them. I got to go run around the house. how can they win at their morning?
I would highly recommend that parents, and this isn't for everyone, but definitely with parents, is to plan their day the night before. Once the kids are asleep, they can just plan their day and be very strategic with what they want to do when. And obviously, things pop up, the kids need them, they need to go to school. But if they have some structure on, let's just say, 5 tasks that they want to complete for work, for personal, for fitness, they can start to be more aware in the day and say, hey, I have intentionality of what I want to do and what I want to accomplish in that day, opposed to just being reactive to the kids. Because a lot of families, the kids run the house. And with some families, it's the other way around. So like I grew up, my father was in the army and my mother's German. So both are very strict. I was up early and everything was structured. The house was always clean. And then I would hang out at my buddy's house when I was in school. And I was like, whoa, this is dirty. Y'all have no organization, stress levels high. Everybody's running around. I'm like, this is wild. So I wasn't used to seeing that. And then I was like, it makes sense why you guys have so much stress and anxiety. Like, I've never seen your house clean. Looking at that, getting the kids to also do the chores, they're going to learn. It takes some stress off of the parents. It instills the discipline in them. But most importantly, planning the night before and then just having a team effort in the family, depending on how old the kids are. But everybody has some tasks. And then everybody feels like they're doing their part. The house is clean. Doesn't matter who it is. Everybody feels amazing when their home is clean. You come home after a long day or school. You're like, it's nice to relax here. Having some camaraderie with the family, depending on their age, but giving everybody some tasks and treating it like a challenge. Hey, can you do this by this time? And having some friendly competition in the home can really help out. And the smartest parents always do that because the kids are like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this. And the parents are like, yeah, just keep doing that thing. And they can kick back, playing a mind game and just having fun with it. That's a big thing people miss is just the fun of the day, to treat the day as like a video game. Hey, right now I have X amount of energy. What can I do in the morning? Hey, I feel best with the morning workout. Maybe somebody else enjoys afternoon workouts to decompress from work, or that's when the kids are out at soccer practice and the only time that works for them. But figuring out when works best for them and then planning the day the night before could really help and be very beneficial to people.
It is about where they can make time, because parents have a very tight schedule sometimes with the kids and all their sports and school activities. So it can be a lot for parents, but you can win at night, because if you are, getting the kids ready for bed after you're done reading them a story, you have a choice. And some parents do really good at not being on their smartphones after the whole day is done. And they're like, okay, I'm not going to look at my smartphone. But some just go on YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that, and they'll waste that precious time right there to set up their tomorrow. When you wake up in the morning, typically parents now, you're just kind of like, whoa, I have to do everything, instead of you planning out saying, well, I know what I have to do. And then so if you have to make their lunch, if you have to go to the grocery store later in the evening, you have to do that. It's not like, oh my God, I have to do it. That stress level is there because you're trying to remember everything and it's not written down. If you just write it down, it's almost like, yes, I understand you still have to do it, but the stress is not as significant, because now you're just like, oh my God, I got to do this. I got to do this. Stop, right? We can probably write a list of 50 things we have to do every day, but how many of those 50 things are essential? Maybe 7, 10. So we can add some focus, some clarity in our day. And that is where I think parents have to get a lot more teachings in and experience in and create awareness in, because if you're just going to run around, not have a clean house, wonder why you're so stressed out, it is your habits. Now we're just getting into the whole aspect of surviving, not thriving. And if you're just in that constant flurry of chaos in your house, you are just surviving every single day. And what Derrick, teaches people and trains people to do is not to simply survive, but to thrive. It doesn't matter if you're a parent. It doesn't matter if you're single, if you're in high school or college. You have the ability to elevate yourself, to figure out what works for you. Some people, as he said, love to work out in the morning. I'm a morning guy. I love working out the first thing. It just sets me up for success through my whole day. If I have to go to the gym in the evening, which I do, it's not as fun, right? I just like waking up in the morning, hitting the gym, coming home, getting in the office, doing the work that I'm supposed to be doing. Some people, they're like, I'm going to wake up, got to take care of the kids. I don't have time in the morning to go to the gym. Not a problem. you will acclimate, you will adjust. I used to work out in the evenings in college and it was fine. I enjoyed it. But at the same time, my preferred way is the morning. I have a kid now. I can still do the morning. Maybe when he's older, he's in sports and things like that. Maybe I can't do the morning anymore and I have to do in the afternoon or the evening. We learn our schedule. We learn how to acclimate. Wanted to get your feel on helping people now. So now we have the foundation, we have the structure. What is going to be maybe 3 helpful things that they can start today that they can say, you know what? I listened to the podcast so far up to now. This is all great information, right? We talked about our morning, we talked about foods to eat, talked a little bit about our afternoon. But now if we can just make it very simple for them, right? It could be 3, it could be 5, it could be 7, whatever you want. We all typically have a go-to amount for if you can master these 3 things or 4 things or 5 things, your life is going to change. What are those things to you?
Number one, I would say same wake up time. I know it seems so simple, but here's what also can happen. Somebody might be saying, well, I might pull an all-nighter. If you do, it's even easier the next day to wake up at the same time because that person is generally going to fall asleep earlier that night. I pulled an all-nighter the other night and then 2 days later woke up at 4 and felt amazing because I fell asleep at 7 p.m., which never happens. But nothing changed in regards to my week. Everybody can afford one day because we all do it sometimes just scrolling. We catch ourselves scrolling on TikTok or YouTube, especially the YouTube rabbit hole. How am I 20 minutes or 20 videos deep and it's 3 a.m.? We've all done it to an extent. Number one, waking up at the exact same time. And I challenge somebody to do that for 30 days straight. And they can choose the time. It all depends on their schedule. I prefer early morning because I usually start work at 7 or 8. So I like to have 2 hours to myself. I prime my body, prime my mind, and then everything else seems easy from there. So I'm not reactive. I'm very proactive. So that's number one. Number two, I would create non-negotiables. Non-negotiables as in what will I allow myself to do and what will I allow myself not to do? So the non-negotiable could be for somebody, hey, 5 days a week, I'm going to work out at 10 a.m. when the kids are away, whatever time they choose, but making that time block non-negotiable, meaning they're going to have to say no to people that need them, family, friends, coworkers, because somebody that's listening to this might be the people pleaser. They say yes to everybody. And then they're like, I don't have time. They probably do have time, but they spend too much time saying yes to everyone else. And then they kind of neglect themselves. And then once everybody's in bed, they're like, wow, I haven't worked out in 3 weeks. No wonder my stress is high because I keep saying yes to everybody else, showing up to these functions and all this stuff, challenging people to say no more. Say the word no to people. And the hardest part is not explaining yourself. We're not trying to be a prick or act above others or whatever, but your true family and your true friends are going to understand. You can just say, hey, I really focus on this, not today. I'll see you guys next time without any further explanation. But if people can wake up at the same time, have some non-negotiables about what to do or what not to do. And last but not least, there's this phrase called conscience congruency. So essentially just listening to your conscience. Where is it guiding you? And really sitting still and being present. Because everybody has that gift of the conscience. We've all opened the fridge and the conscience is like, hey, don't grab that cookie right now. It's midnight. Grab the water, grab a fruit, whatever it is. We all have that to an extent. But if you can stack those small wins every single day by the wake up, by the non-negotiables, and simply listening to your conscience by just being more present, like laying the phone down for 10 minutes, turning off devices, just really sitting there, being present, and just listening to your voice, whether it's God, whether it's your higher self, your higher conscience, whether it's your ancestors, whatever somebody believes in, but really being present and identifying what is that voice telling me? Maybe I should go this path. Maybe I should make a career change because everybody's in the go, 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 which is great. Grind mode, hustle, hustle. But a lot of people are never present. They're with family and friends, but you could tell they're somewhere else. You're like, huh, what'd you say? Because you could tell they're just thinking about something else. But if they can challenge themselves 10 minutes a day just to sit and be present and see what they feel, see where they're being pulled and drawn to, and see what they're being repelled away from, they can gain a lot of clarity from that. What helps me become present is number one, hydration. But number two is spending more time outside, no matter if it's sunny, no matter if it's raining. Like when was the last time most people listening have been outside barefoot in the rain and just stood like this and let the rain hit them? Like probably haven't done this since they were kids or teenagers, but going back to the basics of nature and grounding ourselves to then just like closing our eyes and thinking about what we feel and just being present in the moment. 10 minutes. Everybody can find 10 minutes. And on top of that, just getting more sun. Same wake up time, creating some non-negotiables about what to do or not to do. And then last but not least is just that conscious congruency, listening to the conscience more, because the reason people have tons of anxiety or less confidence is because they always take the wrong route when their conscience says, don't do this. They do it over and over. I'm going to do it next Monday. You know what? One beer won't hurt. This won't hurt. Anytime that voice starts to start, halt it and just take a step back. The more that people do that, the more small wins they get, the more it's going to stack up where they can build momentum. Because a lot of people, they've just been stacking losses by not listening to their conscience. And some people could say they're listening to the enemy. And that's why they're drifting to a side that they're not wanting to be or becoming the person that they don't want. But taking a step back, really being present. Being present is one of the rarest things nowadays, because you could always tell. You go in public to a restaurant, the entire family is on a device. Even the baby is on an iPad. Like, everybody's like this. Everybody's head is down. The server's like, so are you guys ready? Nobody's even present. Like, might as well just stay at home and be in the rooms. Just being present in the moment, to be there with others. And most importantly, be there with yourself, to see what your inner voice, what God, whatever higher energies someone believes in, just really being present and taking that in. Because those moments are crucial. And in those moments, somebody might realize how long they have not really been present, total quietness. Another person might say, hey, I started crying for no reason, because they realized they just needed to release. Another person might just start laughing. Another person might think of their grandma and it's like, oh, I haven't called her in a while. A lot of things will start to come to mind just being present. It's very difficult because we're all addicted to our phones and devices and social apps, but challenging everybody to lay that down, be present, and see what comes to mind. Ideas, visions, goals, whatever it is, but those moments will give you a rush, will give you chills.
When we look at our phones, it's like the zombie apocalypse, right? Everyone's just on their phones. They're just kind of like not there, right? Being present is going to be the start for many people to get into that mindset journey that they want to be in or be living in. That's going to be maybe the key that opens the door from getting out of that survival mindset into that thriving mindset. Your number two, right? Creating non-negotiables is so important. For me, I call them rules. I just say, this is a rule. I got to go to the gym 5 days out of the week. And if I don't go, then, that's on me. I have to take extreme ownership there. If I miss Monday for some reason, I understand life happens, right? Monday, I miss it. I typically don't go on the weekends. I guess my Saturday is a gym day now. I just say 5 days out of the week. You don't have to say you're going to the gym Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You just say you're going to the gym 3 days a week, and then you just commit to that. Now, you can have a schedule, which helps, saying you want to go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But if you miss a Wednesday, don't, say, oh, what's the point of going to the gym anymore? Get out of that mindset. Yes, we know you made a little mistake. You slipped up, but you can get back on the horse, and it's better to keep on going, keep on moving, and not just stop. Say, oh, I missed a day. Oh, well. And then it's a habit. Create the habits that are going to lift you up, not just keep you down. If you make a mistake, we all make mistakes. No one is perfect. We are imperfect, but that is the best thing that you can be, imperfect, because then you can always strive to be better. I love where this conversation went today. We talked about getting out of our current circumstance and going into a new circumstance. And you gave some great examples, great tips. We talked about different family structures to help people in all different realms of their life. As we begin to wrap up this episode, I would love to get some final words from you. And then, of course, please tell the audience where they can find you.
For sure. So my challenge for everyone is to take action on at least one thing that they heard today, whether they watched it or listened, just one thing. I would say number one would be the wake up time. I know it seems so basic, but if people can go back to the basics, spend more time in the sun, take off your shoes and socks, be in the grass, be outside with the kids in the sand, like be present, wake up at the same time, and just really go back to the basics. Because I know that there's a lot of modalities and trainings and new books and all this. There's a lot of new stuff, but people that thrive, they've literally been doing the same basic steps for decades and they kill it. And people are like, that's what you do? And they're like, yeah, they wake up at the same time, they work out, they do this. And it always seems very simple from the outside. But if people start to do it, they start to feel in control. So whatever you can start to control more, focus on that. Second most important is stop focusing on what you can't control. So me personally, I don't watch the media at all. unless it relates to like financial market or something specific or weather if I'm going to go somewhere. But besides that, honestly, don't know what's happening in the world because I don't have control of it. I'm not saying that's for everyone, but I just don't let negative stuff get into my head. If I see it, it's by accident on Instagram. Like, oh, so-and-so, this happened. Cool. And then I just keep going. So it's more of a surprise. I don't put that into the mind. And then last but not least, in regards to where to find me, the number one way would be Instagram. That's my favorite app, but is Fit with the Derrick 2 with the number 2. So Fit with the Derrick 2. On there, I post a lot of content in regards to mindset, post a lot of different exercises that people can try out, whether it's at home, body weight, or in the gym. And then most important is just providing value and interrupting people's news feeds with some positivity or that wake up call. Somebody might have a day they're slacking. They see your post, they see my post. They're like, all right, these guys are on it. They said they're going to train 5-6 days a week. What am I doing? So having some good competition, some good camaraderie is what it's all about.
Perfect. I will definitely throw all those links in the description box below. And we are going to get people into trying something new today, right? So whether it's going outside barefoot and just feeling the rain, right? Some people get wet, some people feel the rain. And it's important that we feel life again. We shouldn't have to struggle. We shouldn't have to just scrape by. Life is full of abundance and we have to claim that for ourselves. And I know working with Derrick, he's going to be that guy to help you get into that mindset so you can reach that goal. And it's so important that you reach that goal sooner rather than later. I want to thank you so much, Derrick, for coming on, spending a little bit of time.
Appreciate you.
Of course. And, keep up the great work. All right, everyone. I'd like to thank you so much for watching that episode with Derrick Johnson and myself. As you can see, those 3 steps are going to be creating that schedule for yourself in your day, just understanding what you're going to be doing, having your non-negotiables. I love to call them my rules. I say this is a rule for me, right? So Monday might be a work day. That's a non-negotiable. Tuesday is going to be a work day, non-negotiable. I'm just giving myself non-negotiables. Now, if I have to do something Monday with a kid's sports game or something like that, I will make time for work and make time for the thing. Now, you do have to understand the third aspect, and that is being present. Most people are just not present. And I was listening to a video. It was a video of someone who is a motivational speaker, motivational guy. And he was talking about how he would go to his kids' sports games. I think it was basketball. And he was always on his phone. He was always on his phone doing work. And I mean, I'm culprit of that too. If I'm out, I'm doing work, I'm doing emails, I'm catching up on something. Yes, even though I have people to do a lot of the work for me, there's still things that I do just because I have my own email and stuff like that. So I have to keep up with that. But there's going to come a time when I probably won't do any of that because it just takes me away from being present, and I have to be present. But going back to the story, he was talking about how his phone died one day when he was at the game with his son. And so now he started paying attention now. He started to see that his son kept looking at him, kept looking up at him. He's like, what's dad doing? And so he was able to pay attention to that. Oh, he's watching me. And most kids watch their parents, whether you want them to or you don't want them to. They will mimic you. They will copy you. In a sense, they want validation. They want attention because they do things for you. They want to show you the A they got. They want to show you the trophy that they earned. They want you to be proud of them, to praise them, to love them. He said, after that day, I saw how he kept looking up to me. And I said, when I'm out with him doing those sports games, I'm not going to be on my phone anymore. He started to see that other parents were on their phones and he wasn't on his phone. So he started looking at their kids and saying, oh, are their kids doing the same thing? And sure enough, their kids were doing the same thing. What's mom doing? What's dad doing? And they keep looking up. And they keep looking at their parents. And their parents don't even make eye contact with them because they're on their smartphone. They're dug in to that smartphone, which, yes, I understand you might be closing on a big deal. You might be doing something like that. But if you have to do something like that, like a phone call or something like that, and you're in the stadium having a sports game, and it's not like tiebreakers or anything, and you have time to maybe step out for about 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is, to do what you have to do, that would be better than to have your kid keep looking at you and they see you, they might be waving at you and you don't wave back. That right there one day is going to lead them to instinctually or just passively saying, I'm not going to wave to mom and dad anymore at the sports game because they have learned, oh, when I wave, they don't wave back. That's just a little tip on being present. So we can be present in our day. We can win with kids. We can win being single. We can win with pets. We can win with a busy work schedule. Understand your work schedule. Understand when you have pockets in your day. Because if you wake up and the first thing you do when you wake up is you're on the smartphone for 3 hours, what could you have done better in those 3 hours? Yes, I'm sure you could have made a cool video, and I'm sure you might have maybe even did some stocks and maybe made a little bit of money. But we're not talking about money here. We're talking about fulfillment. Because yes, most people are just surviving in life. Money can be an aspect. But even if you had the money, even if you had an abundance of wealth, you would still find yourself struggling every single day to make ends meet, because the level of stress that you would be feeling if you don't get your life under control is going to be immense. So that is where life coaching comes in. And I think health and fitness is also a great way to get your mindset primed to take care of yourself. Because if you think of health and fitness, what does it mean? Oh, I have to take care of my body. I have to exercise. I have to eat better. So we pay attention to what we're putting into our body. And most people are not going to be paying attention to what they're putting in their body. They're just going to kind of go to the grocery store, buy another bag of Doritos, buy a whole cake, a whole sheet cake, whatever they get, whatever they're in the mood for. They wonder why, oh, I don't feel good. Or they wonder why they don't have disposable income is because they're buying junk. They're buying things that are not helpful. And if you didn't want to save money in the grocery store, instead of buying that junk, you can buy even higher quality food. Some people swear on organic food. I say that you can just buy fruits and vegetables, and that's going to be a better deal. Now, I understand that you can get some rice and beans and eat that, and it's extremely cost effective, especially if you're one of Dave Ramsey's students. If you have a bunch of days, he's going to say, you better start eating rice and beans, because he's basically saying that you need to save some money. And we waste time, and time can equate to money. Because if we can start to win in our day, we can start to win in our whole entire life. Days compound into each other. So if you win on Monday, you can win on Tuesday. If you lose on Wednesday, the week is not done. Win on Thursday, win on Friday, and ensure you win on Saturday. Win more than you lose, because losing shouldn't feel good. And every single day people are losing and they're okay with it. They're struggling. They're struggling to survive. And what we talked about today is the key to get into a mindset that's going to lead you to a thriving mentality, a thriving, abundant life. How many people are going to take action today? Do what Eric said. Just take one thing you learned from this episode and apply it and implement it in your life. Can you do that? Will you do that? It doesn't have to be a big step. It can be a small step. It could be a process. And will you commit to it? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, a lifetime. That's going to be the start to the best you, to the new you. If you need some help, we are here. RevenConcepts.com. Check out Derrick. All his links are in the description box below. Again, follow him on Instagram. Be a part of the mission. Be a part of the movement to get you out of the mindset and the life that is simply surviving, and get into the life, into the mindset that's thriving. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me coachinginsession@gmail.com, and I'll see everyone on the next episode of Coaching in Session. Until then, everyone take care.